G'day and welcome to Reliability Hero, where we talk with maintenance and reliability people. Few things excite them more than making machines and equipment do more than they were ever designed to do. Faster, safer, longer, and more reliably. Whether you take minerals out of the ground, keep power plants running, or fix and maintain rail networks, aeroplanes, conveyor belts, or turbines, we acknowledge you for keeping economies moving. I'm Andrew Daddo, and this podcast is brought to you by the mainstream community. Is one of the stars of the show, and there are lots of stars in this show for Mainstream 2024. It's Ed Welch, adjunct instructor at the University of Kentucky, but probably more famous as the engineering and maintenance manager at Toyota for 26 years. When I said, you haven't been there since 2013, he goes, you never leave. You leave, but you never actually leave. It's great to speak with you, Ed, and I enjoyed your presentation this morning immensely. There's so much there, isn't it? It's a maintenance presentation, but it's a people presentation as well.
It's all about people, our most valuable asset.
Right. How did you come to Toyota? Was that your plan at the very beginning?
No, I came to Toyota as a result of being dismissed from another automobile manufacturer during the oil and gas crisis. And I had already decided that other automobile manufacturers where I'm going to retire. And I was a young engineer, and we were building V8 engines, large engines. The oil and gas crisis hit. We weren't selling those engines, and I had lost my position, was laid off. So it was rather devastating. I had convinced myself I'll never rely on another company for employment again. Right. So the next 10 years, I was self-employed, and I went to Toyota. Frequently, I would answer advertisements for electrical engineers to sell my engineering consulting company, but when I went to Toyota, they were not looking for a consulting electrical engineer. They were looking to staff up their first operation, and it actually turned out to be a blessing. Toyota was a great company, took good care of me and my family.
Right. So you had ways that you did things as an electrical engineer. So you've got your own consulting business. I'm assuming you reckon you're doing that pretty well. How much did the way you work change when you went to Toyota?
There was a blending of culture east to west, but the work changed rather dramatically. It went from the typical U.S. image of I'm number one, I'm first, to the Japanese image where that nail gets hammered down. We're all a team. And maybe one of the hardest things for me to do was to learn how to work within a team and build consensus. But it turned out to be very valuable and a much different environment and a cooperative environment.
One of the things you talked about in your presentation, which was about TPS, was that the American way, as you just say, was about protecting. No, this is our way. We're not sharing it. We're holding it. So was it hard for you spiritually to change to that sharing environment?
It was a dramatic shift. I remember when our first president, Mr. Fujio Cho, had suggested that we have a need to share the Toyota production system and what we know with our new neighbors and our new community here in North America. And of course, all of us North American management team were saying, why would we do that? And Mr. Cho had suggested that if we live our values, continuous improvement, respect for others, we will always be fine. And those are the types of cultural changes that just didn't come naturally, but he was right. And in addition, he said, if we strengthen these other manufacturers and they have a real need to come and see and a real desire to come and see what we're doing, if we strengthen them, we're also strengthening the middle class and providing customers for the product that we're building. So that was the type of thinking change that occurred, and it occurred my entire career there. It just didn't happen. And so
we're at the mainstream conference, and you can hear the engineers and the maintenance people talking. So it's a big, it's a festival of, well, really it's a festival of ideas. I loved your turn of phrase in your presentation. You said some things that really, to be marinating in the culture. I love the phrase that you said, that we don't hire the hands, we hire the whole body. You know, the mind and the body and the spirituality of people. So, is that one of the keys to, I don't know, maybe to business as a whole, not just to the maintenance group?
Oh, to the entire business operated that way. You would find the presidents on the floor at the Gemba really understanding what is the condition and keeping their fingers on the pulse of production and listening to our customer, the key stakeholder, which was the production operator actually building the vehicle. And that's where all of our value was. That's where we spent our time. We weren't driven by coming in, answering emails, and working in the office. We were on the floor, and we were on the floor supporting that operator, our key customer.
Do you see that ideal of going to work, answering emails, is it? I mean, I know it's necessary, but is it a flawed way of working?
I would suggest it is, because the person that sent you that email begins driving your agenda and your daily priorities, where really your agenda and your daily priorities should be true north, which is building that highest quality vehicle at the lowest lead time and keeping the members safe and providing continuous support to that floor member.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a way to change this newer, I mean, I'd say it's a newer way. Is there a way to change the email? Because people do, they get stuck and lost in.
It's a cultural change, and we drive it through a process we call FMDS, or Floor Management Development System. And so we identify our priorities, and we confirm them daily. We confirm the longer-term Hoshin priorities maybe on a monthly basis, but every day we are confirming the floor condition. By doing that, we understand what our daily agenda has to be to assure that we're delivering the highest quality on time to our customer, which is not necessarily that person buying the vehicle, but it's the next person in the process that's receiving the sub-assembly that we're putting together.
You have a nice example of, I haven't got the parts. Why haven't I haven't ordered the parts because I haven't got the drawings.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about, sending the next bloke down the guy behind you, selling him out. It's about protecting him, so it's a better.
It's Nimawashi and fundamental respect. Part of what I experienced in the U.S. industry, and I thought this is the way manufacturing works. You got to be tough, because there's people going to be trying to hit you all the time, and so you got to be tough in this industry. And what I learned was, no, you need to be cooperative. You need to drive consensus. We need to work together. We need to provide teamwork. And the example I gave was, if I were having to report in a meeting that I had a negative result on one of the items I was responsible for, but another department realized that I'm going to get that negative result because they hadn't given me the information necessary for me to provide a positive result on time, we would use a practice called Nimawashi, or giving consideration to that other group and letting them know, hey, we're going to have to report on this, and when it comes, I'm going to have to show that I'm negative. And that other group will quickly say, thank you, that is not your issue. I'll take that when you come to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if I didn't give them the consideration of doing that, I would never throw them under the bus publicly.
Yeah.
I would go ahead and take the responsibility and accountability for missing that target, and but that happened rarely. See, diverting the blame would be seen as very negatively and shameful at Toyota. It's just something that you wouldn't do. Yeah.
That's Japanese Toyota, Toyota.
That's the Japanese culture.
And that changed in America. So originally that would have been normal. You said, you gave a really great example, and I'm wondering what you learned. You said that you were working on the welding part of the business.
Yeah.
And they said, your superior said, stand there and watch.
Yeah.
And then after lunch, stand there and watch. And you said
Yeah.
you learnt many things. What did you actually?
Many
What did you
ways
learn?
of developing that Kaizen eye. And until you stand and literally watch that process on the floor and look at it step by step, you can't see the Kaizen opportunities, or you can't see the machine that you had supplied and the fallacies and faults within that machine and how you could make it better. You can't necessarily see the wasted walk time or the double handling of a part, But my coordinator realized that developing that Kaizen eye is an important part of my development, and as painful as it was, he asked me to come down and just watch this one process. It was in the body weld shop, and I watched it from that morning till lunch, and he came out at lunch, and my Japanese coordinator. He said, "What did you see, Ed-san, what did you see?" And I told him what I saw, and he said, "Oh, that's very good. Come back after lunch." So came back after lunch, and now I've watched it for the entire shift. He came out at the end of shift. "What did you see? What did you learn?" And I showed him what I saw and what I learned, and I kept learning more and seeing more. It was amazing what you could see if you really focus on the process. And he said, "Come back tomorrow morning." And so
And do it again?
After 2 days of watching that process, I really did develop a Kaizen eye, and it allowed me to look at all processes with a different pair of glasses on, looking for things that I have observed.
So when you first looked at it, so say that first morning, and you went, and you said you were quite excited because you saw where there was wastage or double handling or whatever it was. After looking at it for 2 days, did you see it was a perfect process?
I could see Kaizen opportunity, but most of the Kaizen opportunity that I didn't see was delivered to me from the operator, because they know more about that machine, they own that machine than anyone else. Sometimes I'm able to see a abnormal condition that they're now accepting as a normal condition because they do it that way. They literally wrote it into their standardized work. Another example of that is my maintenance guys. I would require them to actually run the process that they're responsible for maintaining. They went in dragging their heels just a little bit, but they would run the process. They might not be able to do it in cycle time, but they'd have a much better understanding of the relationship between that part and that machine. They would also have a much different appreciation of their production customer and what they have to do every day to meet their production targets. And it wasn't unusual that the maintenance man would come away from that machine with a much deeper appreciation for their production customer, and also give their production customer the feedback, "You know what, I can make this easier, I can fix that." The production customer never even thought of asking, but maintenance was able to see things that became the normal for that production customer. So it built better relationships, and it built a much better maintenance person for understanding the equipment that they're maintaining. Yeah.
Is the role of maintenance more important now, given the automation, the increasing automation of things?
I think it's equally important. What I find is looking at the Toyota maintenance way, all the way back to post-World War II days, the things we are doing is the same. We want to build a good machine that's easy to maintain, and we want to be able to prevent it from failing. If it should fail, if 1 and 2 didn't work just right, we want to be able to have the skills, the parts, the information to repair it quickly and accurately, and then do the recurrence prevention and Kaizen. And so that's no different than they were doing in 1950. The only thing that makes it different is the technology that allows us to do it. So we have opportunities to prepare our people to understand those skills, allow them to be familiar with that equipment, and out of respect for that person, also let them know what we expect them to know and when we'll teach them that. Now, the better members, as soon as they understand what's expected of me, they'll go get that. They'll hit the manuals, they'll find out who knows, and they'll get that knowledge all on their own, and they'll move themselves from being not capable to either fully capable or a subject matter expert.
Right. So the game is the same, just that some of the processes are slightly different. Does it apply to other things? I mean, you've been out of Toyota for 16, 14 years, 15 years.
14 years.
And I understand you've made a drive-through, recreated the drive-through for a chicken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So is it because one of the lovely things I think you said was, one of the other lovely things that you said is that problems are good, recurring problems are bad.
That's the whole genesis of TPS. When Mr. Ono went out to understand what our production system would look like, and he benchmarked other companies, and he came back to Toyota, whether it was the late 50s or early 60s, he said the Toyota production system is based on a simple principle that problems are a good thing. We want to encourage people to raise up problems, but recurring problems are not.
Right.
And then problem solving became the way of life in the Toyota production system.
And so that's obviously infiltrated your life and the way you work. So was it the same thing making the chicken drive-through? Like how do you even start?
Wherever work is being done, whether it's an operating room in a hospital or the case study that you're mentioning, a Chick-fil-A restaurants chain in North America, we improved their productivity, their quality, and thereby their profits by applying these TPS principles and eliminating the waste, driving standardized work, assuring team member skill level, and then continually challenging the target to become better as it applies to safety or quality or productivity or cost or human resource development. Yep. If you look at the agenda for the maintenance activities in 1950, an old maintenance meeting agenda that I looked at, and you look at that same agenda for 2014 or 2024, the agenda is no different. We need to make sure our people have the right skills. We have to have the right parts. We need to increase operation availability. They're all the same things, and we're doing the same things we did in 1950. The technology that allows us to do it more efficiently.
Okay.
But we also have to be careful not to chase technology.
Right.
We buy it when it's prime for the application that we're going to use it. I can remember in 1987, I bought infrared camera. As we were starting up this new plant, I wanted to confirm the bus duct joints for power distribution through the plant, and I had argon backpack on and this camera that I could hardly hold on to. It was probably 50 or 60 pounds, and it's wiggling. No one had any confidence in what I was finding. I chased technology. I bought it before it was ready. And that was a lesson learned, and so now I can do more on my iPhone with the FLIR app than I could do with that piece of equipment that I had carried out there in 1986.
So and again, this has come up in other discussions as well, that chasing those shiny things is...
Be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah.
So just to finish, and on a personal note, you're now, amongst other things, at the University of Kentucky. What... In looking back through your career, what do you like, or what do you think you like more? Was it the maintenance and the guiding the maintenance and making it all work, or teaching people about how to make things work?
I think it was all about teaching and helping, and allowing the opportunity for every team member on my maintenance team had a problem that they could be working on, something that we've not been able to solve. And so allowing them that opportunity and showing them that I had confidence in their skill, and I did, that was an easy thing for me to do, and giving them the time to allow them to look and study that problem, and then going back and doing the follow-up. If it's important enough for me to ask them to do it, I would always follow up to make sure what the results were, the PDCA. Yeah, and so... I would always carry a 3x5 card with me. That was my Kanban. And so if I asked a member to, would you mind, going underneath this press and improving that 5S, I noticed that we've lost control. And the member would say, Ed will forget before he even gets back to his desk, But I'd write it on that 3x5 card, and then I had a Kanban card storage rack, and I drop it in a slot maybe 3 days from now. I'd pick up all the cards that were in that slot for that day. They'd be in my pocket, and I'd go back out and follow up and confirm.
Right.
Some things were routine, and some things were special follow-up, like the example I gave you.
Right. So a nice little reminder of what you had to do to show people that you were interested in what they were doing.
Absolutely, and then
It's a really great.
if they didn't do it, we'd have that discussion.
Yeah.
But normally they would do it, and that would be a very good discussion because I could recognize them very directly. Not a, hey, nice job, Joe. It would be, you did a great job, and by the way, I even noticed where you organize these things such that we'll make sure we have first in, first out. That's great, you know, and that's meaningful. Now, with maintenance guys, at least in the U.S., you can't give them those kind of praise and accolades in public because the rest of the team's going to beat them up. Yeah,
right.
So you take them to the side and you let them know, I noticed what you did. I appreciate it. Great job. Thank you.
But even I'm guessing in the taking them to the side, someone's still going to see them being taken to the side.
They're still going to take a beating.
Go, yeah. Still going to beat you up.
Apple polisher.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. Well, Ed, what a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Ian.
And again, it literally was like a masterclass of a presentation. So thanks very much.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. The honor's all mine. Thank you for having me.
Ed Welch. Thanks for tuning in to Reliability Hero. Keep the world running, and we'll catch you next time. This podcast was brought to you by the Mainstream community.